The Russian bear has roared once again, this time threatening to suspend all military ties with NATO. CBS News national security correspondent David Martin is at the Pentagon with more on that. David, good morning.
Good morning, Harry. U.S. intelligence now sees signs Russian troops have begun pulling out of Georgia. But even as Russia is loosening its stranglehold on Georgia, it is making thinly veiled threats to attack Poland. That came in response to the signing of an agreement in Warsaw to station an American anti-ballistic missile system in Poland, barely 100 miles from Russia's border. Secretary of State Rice called the threat bizarre, and there is certainly no immediate danger of war. But Michael Mandelbaum of Johns Hopkins says it's one more sign of a poisoned relationship.
We have no military option in Georgia, so there's not going to be a direct clash between Russian and American and NATO forces. But it raises the level of tension, it creates ill will on both sides, and that could spill over in other places.
One place it could spill over is Iran, where Russia is a key partner of the U.S. in negotiations aimed at stopping the Iranian nuclear program.
Anything they can do to spite the United States is a good thing, and therefore they have conducted a policy toward Iran which not only is less tough than we would want, but that is less tough than is actually in Russia's interest.
According to Mandelbaum, Russia's spite is a product of U.S. policies such as the stationing of missile defenses so close to Russia's border and pushing to admit the former Soviet republics of Ukraine and Georgia to the NATO alliance.
We have conducted our policy since the middle 1990s without regard to Russia's wishes. We have not taken them seriously. We have acted unilaterally. They're tired of that.
U.S. officials say it can no longer be business as usual with Russia. That's supposed to be a way of punishing Russia for its invasion of Georgia, but it may be exactly what Moscow wants to hear. Harry?
David Martin at the Pentagon this morning. Thank you so much. With its newly aggressive behavior, is Russia trying to restart the Cold War? We want to talk about that right now with Frank Gaffney. Frank, thanks so much for being with us this morning. We were reading this morning, Russian troop movements very slow in Georgia. Mikhail Saakashvili is basically begging for help there. Is there really anything the United States can do?
Yeah, I think there are things we can do, but we've got to get clear about what the problem is. The problem is not Georgia. The problem is really not even just Russia. The problem is we're in what I call the war for the free world. And it's well advanced, much as during the 30s. I mean, interestingly enough, 60 years ago or so, 70 years ago, now we're witnessing a reprise, I think, of a totalitarian moving into a small country far away, as Neville Chamberlain once said. And we're taking it as though it's somebody else's problem. We don't need to worry about it. It's our problem. And I'm simply saying that you have, I believe, in Russia today, not because of what we did in the 90s or since, though that may have aggravated things, you have Vladimir Putin clearly calling the shots, even as prime minister, seeing vacuums of power, sensing our weakness, seeing the fecklessness of NATO, and moving along with this other problem, which is an Islamist in character.
Which a whole other set of
we
problems.
Need another segment.
But here's the thing, how much should we be concerned about Putin and Russia?
I think we have to be very concerned about it for the simple reason that his interests are absolutely at odds with ours. What he is doing across the board in arming enemies of freedom elsewhere, in crushing freedom at home, in threatening neighboring states, and yes, unfortunately, it will not stop with Georgia, it's Ukraine, probably next, it's Poland and the Czech Republic. These are our friends. We need to stand with them.
Lots to worry about. Frank Gaffney, thank you so much. Do appreciate it.